So why exactly did we spend 26, 27 episodes of Lego Marvel Superheroes, working our way through the story and then doing a little bit of free play stuff at the end, but not going 100% through, and not just sticking with the root story by itself? And the reason was to get into this game with a little bit of background. This is Lego Marvel Avengers, which is the sequel game, in a way, to Lego Marvel Superheroes. Came out earlier this year in January, and it picks up... actually, it has some overlap time-wise with Lego Marvel Superheroes, but its primary objective is to cover both Avengers movies and the Phase 2 Marvel films in between Avengers 1 and 2, along with setting up some of the characters and movies that will be coming out in the coming months for Marvel. And of course, we're just coming off of Captain America: Civil War being in theaters, and there is indeed content from Captain America: Civil War in Lego Marvel's Avengers. Unfortunately, it is PS4 exclusive, and we are dealing with an Xbox 360 here, so we are going to miss out on most of the Civil War characters with one exception, and we'll kind of save him until we get there. There was also an Ant-Man DLC for the PS4 that we will not be, unfortunately, getting to see. So if we talk about Ant-Man, it's going to be the Hank Pym kind of Lego Marvel Superheroes version of Ant-Man that they put into the game. But here we are, already started off with the team of Hawkeye and Black Widow. And the first thing we can really notice is that both of these characters have gotten some upgrades from their original forms. Now for Black Widow, this is only a feature of her Age of Ultron form, which she shows here, because this game decided to start you off with the huge action sequence as they attack the base of Baron von Strucker at the beginning of that movie. So Black Widow, you see that her added ability is that her electric baton sticks can serve as basic a replacement for what Thor or Storm used to do in the last game. Also, the spider sense mechanic from the last game has been partially removed and replaced instead with these little computer detectors. And these digital detectors are associated with some characters, but not all. And so here we got her, and then we have Hawkeye. Now, in the first game, Hawkeye had a series of useful arrows. He could blow up gray Lego bricks. He could utilize the little, pulley holes or whatever you want to call, or hooks, such as he did over there to set up that rope. But in this game, he has even more arrows. Now he has arrows that can take out gold bricks. Now he has arrows that can use sonic attacks on what would be glass objects. All that stuff he can potentially get into. Okay, here's another one of Black Widow's abilities that's carrying over from the last game, and that is her ability to control technology, because she is a technologically proficient character. So I decided to use the big gun there to knock out the truck. Didn't have to do it that way. I could have used one of Hawkeye's arrows to do the same thing. Now, since this is the first playthrough that I've gone through of this game, I am going to try to collect as many studs as possible, and that may lengthen out the time of these episodes in a way that we really didn't run into that problem with Lego Marvel Superheroes. Okay, so you can see Black Widow still has her stealth ability, and as long as she's stealth, the opponents pretty much ignore her. And we've also set up another new element in this game, and that is the combo move. Certain Avenger characters can work together on these gray blocks in order to do a combo move. These combo moves can be accessed by characters who are not the base character, unless there's a cutscene that's associated with the move. So for this move with Hawkeye and Black Widow, you do actually have to have Hawkeye and Black Widow to pull that off. You can't do it with Black Widow and another character with a bow and arrow. So we're digging around looking for studs now. So we're going to try to get the true Avenger status as soon as we can. But we're not going to really focus on getting the mini kits until the free play mode. You can see some shiny things that would help us get to mini kits later on. And now it's time for a transition, and we're going to transition away from Black Widow and Hawkeye and to the Incredible Hulk. This is Hulk's Age of Ultron body. It's, I don't know if the word's more realistic, but it's, you know, probably, I'd say it looks better in some ways. And with him is Iron Man in the Mark 43 armor. Iron Man has gotten a significant redesign as a character. His abilities are more or less the same, but you'll notice that in his melee combo, he now has that laser that comes out initially. And the Mark 43 suit and the suit at the suits that Iron Man has access to at the end of the game, they have a new power. They are able to summon Iron Legion drones. Drones are not terribly useful. The AI on them is not particularly good, but they will follow you around, and they can get in the way of enemies. But more often than not, you won't see yourself using them. So this is the Iron Man Mark 43 suit is the first Iron Man suit that we'll get access to in the game. And he can still use his laser to cut through gold objects, which we're going to do right here on these logs. And he's still a better anti-personnel fighter than some of the other characters because of his shooting abilities. This game changed the enemy balance from Lego Marvel Superheroes. So, where Iron Man could have killed each of those flunkies with a single shot in Lego Marvel Superheroes, it now takes a couple of shots for him to pull it off, whether in melee or in long-range combat. Hulk, I think, is still a one-hit kind of kill, so he's probably actually the better option now in this fight. But I'm just so used to using these range characters like Iron Man from the old game that, you know, it takes a while for that to come in. Thor's hammer and power characters such as Luke Cage or Jessica Jones are also able to kill enemies in fewer hits. So we've cleared those guys out, and now we're looking around for... There's a mini kit in there, but I need a character who's not Iron Man and not the Hulk in order to make a run at that. Not going to stop me from trying, though. Again, another difference in the Lego Marvel Superheroes playthrough, I was doing things, not for the first time. Been through that game a couple of times, even though I still managed to do some really silly things in that game. Here, everything is pretty much blind, except for possibly this level. This is the level that came with the free demo. So if you downloaded the demo, none of this should look all that different to you. And in episode 1, we're not going to leave, we're not going to see anything that you didn't see in the demo. So now, another change the game is doing, instead of just hitting gold areas with our laser, now we're making very precise shapes. In the first game, we made big shapes sometimes, but most of the gold items were just there to heat up and melt down. And now, I am trying to milk every thing I can get, and we switch over from the Iron Man Hulk area to the Captain America and Thor team up. Captain America had got a couple of improvements between the games as well. He has a bigger variety of melee moves, and, you know, as far as pure melee combat's concerned, he's a very capable fighter. It's still hard to utilize the shield as a throwing weapon, but now the shield is capable of deflecting ordinary shots, like bullets and things, if you've got it down and if you're, you know, facing the right character. Thor has a very similar kind of mechanic with Mjolnir. Mjolnir is capable of deflecting shots. You know, if Thor can get the hammer in the way. So there's our first true Avenger ranking, and there's still another act to go in this level. So, you know, we probably a little overzealous here on the gathering of the studs. And I'm sure you saw a couple times as Captain America and Thor are fighting here, that when they were close to each other, you would see a blue item light up with a B, you know, to hit the B button, like right there. That, if we had hit the B button at the right time, Captain America and Thor would have done a team-up move. Now, the Avengers have different team-up moves for every combination of the Avengers that were present in Age of Ultron. If you're using characters who aren't in the Avengers, there's a sort of basic double Iron Man landing move that everybody does together. Another thing to bring up that really didn't come into play with Iron Man and Black Widow and Hawkeye, since those were all sort of distance fighters, you now have a special attack move you can perform by yourself, which is a one-hit kill move when it's made available to you. And that, whether it's made available to you, has to do with, I think, your combo rating at the time. Another new ability for Cap here. In the last game, he could walk over fire and douse it temporarily. Now he's capable of putting out fire altogether. A much better move, something that's more useful, and also reflects the fact that there are very few ice characters in this game. In the last game with Iceman and Loki and LaFay, you had the opportunity to use ice powers. This game, you know, Loki, you know, as you unlock things, you've got to purchase them in order for them to be usable. You know, you got to play through the entire Avengers story arc to get Loki. You've got to do some digging in Asgard to find LaFay. And of course, Iceman is not an available character. So having the shield characters able to put out fires instead of just simply walk through them is a helpful thing. So here's our guys. Continuing to move down, we're going to go down into the trench.
Those turrets aren't going to let up. Better use the trench to get through.
As they suggest. And this is where things get a little bit sticky. It's not putting out the fire, although this does bring up the fact that occasionally Captain America will put out one fire only to land into another, which can be a little bit annoying. So here we're going to break the truck. And there is a very familiar we're going to build something quite familiar to us. And that is the Captain America shield switch, which they utilized in LEGO Marvel Avengers. Those are back. So you're going to need Captain America's shield to access them. And now these guys are firing down the hill at us. So we can use Captain America's shield to deflect, assuming that we have pressed the right button. So charge up the hill with Captain America. The problem, of course, is this tank. You know, if I'm going to engage these guys in melee combat, I can't protect myself from the tank shooting me from behind. But our objective here is to unleash that blue symbol, because that's going to point us to a team-up move between Captain America and Thor. And it took me a little while to get the hang of these, and because Thor's charge-up move for his hammer is the same button as the team-up move, but what you have to do is you just have to be very careful with how you hit it. And we got it that time, and they used the force of the shockwave from Thor's hammer going against Captain America's shield to blow up the tank. And that brings us to the second part of the level, and I'll see you with that next time.
We know Strucker's not going to worry about civilian casualties. Send in the Iron Legion.